Is it okay to be motivated by the wrong things? I'm talking things like revenge, money, fame, power, status. These are all things that we've been fundamentally taught are wrong since birth. We've been taught that these approaches or these motivators are villainous, and we need to think more heroically. We need to be the hero in our story and not think like a villain does. And we often don't ask any questions. We just assume that that is the case, that it is simply wrong to use these controversial motivators to achieve our goals. I'm going to flip the script and say that it's okay, because the reality is it's a motivator, and however you choose to view it is your decision. Consider the classic breakup where you feel wronged by your ex-partner. You seek revenge, and you use that revenge as a form to improve your life overall. You go to the gym, you focus on your fitness and your health. You take up new hobbies, you focus on yourself. It gives you this power that you don't usually have. It gives you this motivation that doesn't usually exist. Just because you were seeking revenge in the beginning does not mean that you will be seeking revenge forever and you're on the wrong path. But what if the path was the same path, but somewhere along the way you realize that the reason why you continue on the path isn't because of that revenge? Whatever it may be, that's a controversial motivator. How wrong is it really to be motivated by such things? Morals are very important to me, and morals are important to most people. It's important to stick to your morals and your beliefs. If you believe that it is a bad thing to seek revenge, then you shouldn't use revenge as a motivator. My perspective on revenge is that it's a very powerful negative emotion that you feel at first. So much so that you're driven to push yourself to new limits that you've never seen. You want to do things that you've never done. And the fact of the matter is, when you seek revenge, you actually end up doing these things. Negative emotions are very powerful like that, and they can be very useful for getting you out of a dark place. Because when you're in a dark place, you're experiencing all kinds of negative emotions. You feel revenge, you feel resent, whatever it may be. You may have felt wronged by a person, or you might feel unlucky in a situation, and you think that I'm going to chase money, I'm going to chase status. Your motivation is driven purely by negative thoughts and emotions. This can only be useful if you don't let it blind you. And that's the part that most people miss. People think that you're not thinking straight, that you're doing it for the wrong reasons, but the reasons unfold as time passes. So the concept of revenge is that you feel this strong sense of negative feelings taking over. It's overwhelming. It's sickening almost. And you aren't clear-headed in that moment. You are thinking purely based on anger, rage, resent. And that's okay, because negative emotions are natural to feel. It's how you respond to these negative emotions. And you can choose to be blinded. There might not be any direction there. You might just be trying to get your anger redirected toward someone or something. Or you could choose the smarter option and be self-aware. Recognize that what you seek is revenge. Identify the emotions that you're feeling. Why do you want to seek this revenge? Why does it matter to you so much that this person sees what they did wrong, that you become more successful than them, that you prove to them? Because these are all the things you think of at first, and it fuels you, it powers you. Once you get past the initial honeymoon phase of your revenge or wrong motivators in general, you see that you've set out on a path. But the path changes as you traverse along this journey, and you will notice that revenge doesn't mean that much to you anymore. You will notice that money or fame or status or whatever it is that you really were after to begin with doesn't matter as much anymore. And it might still, to some extent. But what will happen is the thing that you're motivated by will be shifted, and you will recognize that it was important to be motivated by wrong things at first, because that is what pushed you over the edge. That is what made you take that giant first leap. Now that you've done the hard part, which is starting, right? The significant amount of energy that you have to spend to start working towards a goal or a lifestyle, you mature a bit. You realize that it was sort of naive of you to just be driven by revenge or money, fame, status, etc. And then you actually come up with a very mature goal or direction for your journey. You recognize that it's not really revenge that you're after anymore. It's just something that you personally want to achieve. It doesn't have any negative connotations attached to it anymore. And you start doing things for the right reasons, as most people would deem. So you need to be self-aware enough to recognize that you are being driven by the wrong things and to be mindful of that as you embark on this journey, because it's so addictive and you like this feeling of seeking revenge so much that you stop recognizing that there is a bigger picture, because there is a bigger picture when it comes to these wrong motivators. In short, for a temporary time period. Because if you're indefinitely motivated by the wrong things, then you kind of lose sight of the good things that you want in your life. You want to be motivated by the right things long term. And I think more than anything, being motivated by the wrong things doesn't matter so long as you are well intentioned. If you have good intentions, there is no need to worry. You won't be negatively influenced by the negative motivators. I feel like it's important to be self-aware when we seek motivation, when we go through traumatic or significant experiences in general. There are a lot of life-changing experiences that we all have, and we are often pushed to start on a journey for a certain reason, and then the goal changes along the way because you realize that the reason isn't relevant anymore. And I think that's the self-awareness that really matters. You understand that your journey starts because of one reason, but it continues for another. I think if anything, that's the number one lesson you should take away from today. Don't beat yourself up for being motivated by the wrong things. I've had friends who say, I want to be rich. I know that's bad, but I want it. And I tell them that you'll be rich if you work hard enough and you keep your head down and you stay true to who you are. You work hard, you work smart, but you don't lose sight of the goal, which isn't technically to be rich. It's to have financial freedom. And why would they want financial freedom? So that they can enjoy their lives with the people that matter to them. Again, it's all deep rooted by this fundamental good thing. When it can become blinding is when you're motivated to become rich because your ex-partner used to make all the money in the relationship and they leave you and you're left with nothing. And the number one thing you want to do is make more money than them because that's the revenge that you seek. You have this desire to prove that you are worth something. And I see you if you're that type of person. And I think in those situations, it is a powerful thing to use that revenge as a motivator, but you need to remember that eventually it doesn't really matter what you prove to them. Because once you have that money, once you work hard enough to become rich, what are you going to do with the money? You're not going to go and shove it in that person's face. You're going to use it to improve the quality of your life. You realize that financial freedom is so much more important than proving to someone that you can be rich. It's blinding at first. You don't see the bigger picture at first, but I promise you, continue on the journey. Try as hard as you can to be self-aware, and you will understand that the sole reason that you are doing what you are doing is deep-rooted by something fundamentally good, something that will fundamentally benefit yourself. And it's masked by this negative motivator or this negative emotion that you want to satisfy. In my own experience, that's what I've learned. Seeking revenge is a very powerful thing at first. And along the way, you realize it's not really the reason that you are doing what you're doing. At first it was, but under that, there's something deeper. And I encourage you to try and think of what this deeper thing is. I hope that this video gave you some insight and can be somewhat life-changing when you go through more situations like this. I appreciated the conversation, as always. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to give me a like and leave a comment on what you think. And I hope to see your face soon.